2 years ago, U.S. Air Force General Mark Kelly, who was serving as the head of Air Combat Command at the time, warned attendees at the Air Force Association's Air, Space, and Cyber Conference that the Chinese PLAAF, which stands for People's Liberation Army Air Force, were working on their version of a sixth-generation fighter. Now evidence has just emerged from China that General Kelly wasn't just conjuring up a peer threat as a hedge against budget cuts. Amateur videos taken by bystanders on the ground capture a prototype aircraft, what the PLAAF have reportedly designated the J-36, flying in the vicinity of Chengdu Aircraft Corporation's facility with a J-20 stealth fighter acting as the chase plane. Still images taken from the video allow us to do a little first-glance analysis of the design. First off is the fact that the J-36 looks to be the same length as the J-20, which is 70 feet long. That's big for a fighter. By comparison, that's about 7 feet longer than the F-14 was, and the Tomcat size earned it the Big Fighter nickname during its decades of service. Another design feature that immediately jumps out is the J-36 doesn't have any vertical stabilizers, most likely to facilitate speed, endurance, and stealth. Focusing on the trailing edges, you can see 5 control surfaces per wing, which seems like a lot in an era where composite designs usually yield fewer moving parts, not more. The 10 total control surfaces may provide yaw control in the absence of vertical tails, in addition to roll control. It's also interesting to see in this image how only the outboard 2 control surfaces are lowered, along with the gear in what appears to be the landing configuration. The engine design looks unique as well. From the bottom, you can see 2 intakes that appear to share the design characteristics of the J-20, and a third intake on top of the fuselage. A zoomed-in view of the aft end of the J-36 on the ground reveals 3 exhaust nozzles. As our friends at the War Zone point out in their analysis, 3 engines are necessary to reach the desired range and speed targets because of the J-36's higher gross weight than the J-20. Those engines are presumably the same domestically produced WS-10 Charlie turbofans used in the J-20. And as you can hear in the videos, they're loud. You probably don't want to buy a house around any of the airfields where these airplanes will be operating. In a post on Blue Sky, good friend of the channel and 2-time Mucci Award-winning military aviation expert Justin Bronk points out that the J-36 may not be a 6th-generation design, but rather the result of the PLAAF's 5th-generation regional bomber/strike fighter project, previously known as the J/H-XX. The Warzone coverage also allows that this may be true, but goes on to suggest that the technologies being proved out with the J-36 may inform the development of the Chinese 6th-generation aircraft. Meanwhile, back in the United States, the Secretary of the Air Force, Frank Kendall, paused the Next Generation Air Dominance, or NGAD program, last summer because he wasn't happy with the unit cost, more than $300 million per aircraft, and the fact that the technologies they were baking into it were not keeping pace with the threat. So he's assembled a high-level panel of experts to redefine the NGAD's requirements beyond just the air superiority mission currently being covered by the F-22 Raptor. Now the Air Force wants the 6th-generation aircraft to be able to do other emerging missions like controlling Autonomous Collaborative Combat Aircraft, CCA, also known as Loyal Wingman, where a manned fighter controls several unmanned aircraft as lower-cost force multipliers. The results of that panel will create a new request for proposals that will start a competition between defense contractors in 2026. And the U.S. Navy's Director of Air Warfare, Rear Admiral Buzz Donnelly, recently hinted at moving the FAXX program to the left to keep pace with the threat in the face of delays in F-35 manufacturing and overall disappointment with what the C model, the carrier-based fifth-generation stealth fighter, has brought to the fight in terms of range, endurance, and lethality. Like NGAD, the FAXX design requirements include loyal wingman, stealth, and supercruise capabilities, which will demand the fielding of a new engine in addition to the other next-generation technologies. And the budget pressures on naval aviation are only getting worse going forward, as the U.S. Navy prioritizes other procurement needs like Columbia-class submarines. The bottom line at this point is the fact that the Chinese actually have an airplane flying means they're winning the race towards sixth-generation fighter capability. And that certainly concerns the Pentagon as they get ready for the new administration to take office with an eye on eliminating expensive weapons programs. Okay, more on this topic as the information becomes available, so if you're not already a subscriber, become one so you don't miss anything going forward. And in the meantime, I look forward to talking to you again very soon.